I ain't done this in a minute.
I'm still nervous, man. Matt, you were gone last week.
Yeah, all right.
I was nervous last week too.
I was nervous last week too, but I felt good about it.
Oh, people really do say Jenny, Jen, Jen.
They
That's correct.
yeah,
That's what
Yeah,
they
they
say.
do.
Yeah,
they
we-
do
it's
because of
stuck.
Jake.
It's stuck.
Here we go. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 46. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and today we have the man that makes some of the most beautiful epoxy tables you've ever seen, Cam with Blacktail Studios.
Thanks for having
There
me,
it
guys.
is.
How you doing,
Hello.
sir?
Best day of my life.
There
Awesome.
you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Thank you
stuff.
for taking the time out and joining us tonight. And we usually just started off and give us a little background on how you got started making these beautiful tables and just your beautiful work.
Well, I knew that I wasn't a good enough woodworker to make other types of tables when I first started out. And I saw, like a lot of people, I saw some people doing epoxy and wood, and I was like, I could probably dump plastic into a form and make something out of it. And so I just started, and unfortunately it wasn't quite as easy as I'd hoped, but eventually I got it figured out, and a couple of years later, here I am.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go,
I'm
Cam.
envious
Thanks.
of that
Yeah, go ahead.
that background you got there, those planes and stuff. That's pretty neat.
Those are
Mhm.
my dad gave me those. Those are my great grandfather's. He was carpenter, and my dad, he'd had these forever, and he's like, you might appreciate these more than me. So
Wow, that's
got those.
cool.
pretty
man.
Some of them are stamped from the 1800s. He, for some reason, even put the year on, which is cool now.
Yeah.
Right? Wow, that's neat, man. Awesome.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Cam. My name is Jake for people at home from Northside Custom Crafts, and I usually do an icebreaker. My icebreaker for you is, was being a helicopter pilot just not cool enough for you, or what?
It's funny that I joked with my wife when I stopped being a pilot. I was like, it might sound, kind of vain, but I always thought, like, if we had kids, that it'd be cool to say I was a pilot. And she's like, kids now would be way more impressed by you being a YouTuber than being a pilot. And I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay then. So,
Everybody.
I thought I was
flies.
taking a step down, but apparently kids like the YouTube.
That they do. They sure
Yeah.
do.
What's funny
Only
is,
thing they like these days.
is people our age are like, if I tell people I'm a YouTuber, they're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
But I tell them, like, I have a niece. I'm like, is it weird that I'm a YouTuber? She's like, no. Like, they don't think it's just weird. It's weird how the
Oh, yeah.
generations
No,
think
I
differently.
went to a New Year's Eve party, and it was just like these attorneys, their eyes are glazed over, like didn't ask me anything. Like I just tell them, I'm a YouTubing woodworker, and they're like, uh-huh.
I'll ask my boys to come help me, and they're like, "Are we going to be on camera?" Well, no, but I'll sneak it in sometimes, and they're like, they do not want to be on camera at all, because that's first question. They're like, "Are we going to be on camera?"
I get that. I get that a lot from my wife, and it's more of like, what's she wearing or dressed? Like she'll like walk in to help me or something. She's like, "Are you recording this?" I'm like, say.
Joey, your kids have to get about 10 years older before you become cool again.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
My son's 25, and I go, well, I can't chat this morning. I have to do YouTube or whatever. And he's like, okay, Mom.
Oh,
Anyway,
man.
well, hello, Cam, and everybody at home. I'm Jen with Jen's Turn. And Cam, my first question for you is, I recently did this project, and I took a piece of maple burl, and I laser engraved Yosemite Valley and Half Dome onto it. And I tried sealing the wood, and obviously it's burl, so it's just soaking up the lacquer. And I saw that Blake McFarland tagged you the other day in a story for the LED oil. Have you tried that on burl? Would it soak in like the lacquer does, or is it going to dry fast enough to stay on the surface?
I don't think I would put it on burl. What I would suspect with it is if it did soak in, you kind of give it a really light scuff and just do another coat, and it's so instant that it wouldn't take more than 3, probably 2. So I guess it might soak in, but it cures so fast that you could just keep building until it stopped soaking it in.
Okay. And that leaves more of the natural wood feel to it than an epoxy
it's really
does,
similar
right?
to like a Rubio if you've done that, a hard wax oil. So you still feel all the wood grain. It's a really natural feel, but it's definitely not that lacquer shine glare that you're going to get for good or bad.
Okay. That's kind of what I was hoping for. So
I love it. It's great. Just the time saved with it. It's an investment with the light and all that up front. But if you're any type of production shop, then I think it's a no-brainer.
have you done it using just the sun? I know you mentioned that in your videos, but I always see you use the light.
I haven't yet. And actually, do you guys know Woodcraft by Suman? He's really I think he's got a actual intellectual background. But I was talking with him last week about it, and he's doing a video on it. So whenever that comes out, I'll watch it, and you guys should too. But he was breaking down the wavelengths. I thought the sun was more powerful than my light, and he said it's significantly less powerful because there's not as much UV in the sun as there is this. So you need it outside for 2 or 3 minutes, whereas the light, you only need it for like 1 or 2 seconds. So I haven't used just the sun yet, but I'm curious to watch his video on the curing process of the different lights.
Me too.
He also told me that I should be wearing gloves, which I haven't been. He said that UV, because it is such a concentrated UV. I thought it was just like being in the sun for a few minutes, which, we obviously do all the time. But he said it's not. It's much worse.
Really? Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
The first time I bought UV resin, it came with glasses, and I'm like, well, if they send you glasses with it, there must be something to it.
He did recommend the glasses too. He said the rest of your body's probably okay. Like by the time it bounces off, it's not so bad. But I got a lot to learn about the UV stuff. But I know it looks nice and it cures quick.
Nice. Well, I think I'll give it a try.
There you go. Well, everybody at home, my name is Matt with Wacky Works. Cam, I started watching you about 3 years ago when I was searching for videos on dust collection, and you were doing your dust collection, and you put it outside.
Yep.
And I was researching that. And so my question is, being that it's outside, your shop isn't completely climate controlled, but I know that you sometimes, does it suck it out constantly, or is it, how does that work?
So you saw the video from my old shop, which isn't, as far as the dust collection is concerned, isn't that much different than my current shop. I fell in love at that shop having an attached shed to the house, so I could keep my yard tools and the dust collector out there for kind of noise and all that. In that shop, I didn't have any return, and so it would suck all the air out of the garage, and it was gone. Like if I had it air conditioned down to 75 when it was really hot out, it was shocking how you could just feel the heat rising. Like in seconds, it went from 75 to 88. It just that quick.
Wow.
In my new shop, I did the same thing. I have the attached shed to the shop. And I actually went and did some research and found out, I think Oneida, I called them, and they have the math on how big of a return you need to equalize back in. So it's a fairly good sized cutout. It does make it louder. I think it's maybe 2 feet by 5 feet. But now I don't lose everything. It just comes back in the.
Okay. So basically you have the outside insulated as well. So it's just, it's blowing the air back in. Okay.
Just as insulated as my shop. So it just kind of holds everything in there.
That's good to know. I've always heard people say it, but I've never had anybody with the experience to say, yeah, it sucks the air conditioner right out.
It's like a magic trick. Just like you feel like this bead of sweat coming up on your face.
Yeah. And I mean, you said in the video that if you after you did it for a while that you would, comment on the changes. Anything that you would change based off of like your piping that you did with the hard piping and stuff?
I actually reused almost all that piping on my new shop. I think I did a pretty good job. I don't want to be too boastful, but
well, this is the time.
The automated blast gates were awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, my wife's been gone for a week, and my dog just saw her when she got home, so you're gonna hear a dog barking.
Yeah, right. You're fine.
But the blast gates have been awesome. In that shop I had my drill press connected to the dust collection, and I don't in this shop, and I really miss that.
Really?
I was just making a mess today on my drill press. So no, it's pretty simple. One of the things I did in my new shop that I freaking love is I cut about 10 feet out. So I trenched to my table saw. I brought power and air and everything underground. So I don't have a big post in the middle of my shop anymore.
Yeah. I was talked
That's
out
nice.
of that. I got a pipe that runs across my floor in between that and my bandsaw, and I wish I would have trenched it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice to do that, to get it all out of the way. When I built my shop, I should have put a pipe in. I did underground electrical.
mm-hmm.
I didn't put any pipes. I thought about it, and then I was like, nah, I'm just gonna hang it overhead, which I can, but it'd have been nice to bring
I
it
don't
up
know
with
that
the
I
power.
would do it in like Oneida doesn't like that I do it. I talked to them about if in my next shop, if I get one, they don't love it. So I don't know that I would do individual tools just in case you do rearrange everything, but I'd think at least one. So you could have air, power, ducting at like one big island station that's not going to move.
Right.
So when you did it, did you do a trench where you have like a grate above it where you can actually access it if you ever had to?
Nah, it's literally only 10, 12 feet. And it's a 6-inch pipe. Like you can almost get your arm into it if you wanted to, if there was a clog or anything.
Yeah.
I put a pipe above ground going to the router table just so people could tell me that I have a tripping hazard in my shop. Worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, if I would have told you there was one in mine, no one would ever saw it because it's just a little 4-foot run that you don't see, and it goes right up underneath my table saw station. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. First, quickly, disclaimer, Cam. I'm from England, so subtitles running at the bottom of the screen there.
Yep.
So, okay. So I have heard you mention before in a video that the combination of walnut and black resin is kind of your thing. So how did that come about?
It's a good question. It was for money once. I didn't want to do it. I was selling a couple, tables. I think I'd made one and put it up, and this lady reached out and she said, I want one like that, but I want to use walnut, or maybe she even just said dark brown wood and black epoxy. And I remember thinking, like, it's a terrible idea. I was like, the dark brown and the black are too close. It's going to clash. And I did it because I wanted the money, and it turned out phenomenal in terms of the color combination. I was just like, this lady is a genius, and I basically never looked back after this customer had requested it. And I don't know how long it would have taken me to come up with that on my own, or probably stealing it from someone else. But that was just a smart customer.
Yeah,
Customer's always right.
I remember saying in the video, I think that's where the basis of Blacktail Studio come from.
Yeah, I mean that's where all my success came from anyway, was the black resin and the walnut. And it was why customers can be difficult, but they also get you out of your comfort zone and can get you some really good ideas. And so pushing through that is, I think, a great way to get inspiration and make yourself better.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Give us how do you prepare? I mean, these tables are massive, so I know this could be a long question, but it's cool. How do you prepare these slabs? How do you pick them? I mean, I know the customer is going to tell you kind of about what they want, but what are the processes that go through, to preparing it? Because, to getting the epoxy poured in there, setting it up, how does that work out?
Yeah, if I'm working with a customer, I pretty much always give them the option anyway, and they almost always take it to select the slab with me. I think that's part of what they like doing. We'll usually start with online photos. Most of the wood suppliers I go to have a pretty good inventory of photos on ideas, and it's hard to envision a fresh cut slab, what it's going to look like finished and all that. Color changes, I've learned quite a bit. But we start looking at that, and then I'll have I try not to give them too many options. I've learned that can be a mistake if you give them 20 pieces and they're like, great, let's go look at those 20. And you're like, I was thinking like 3 of those 20. So now it's more of choosing the 3 and saying, here's the 3 I decided. What do you think of these? And then we might have them pulled out of inventory, lay them out, and I'll come out with a template. And usually on a video call, I'll lay the template down and kind of envision the layout that I'm thinking and seeing if it'll work as well as I think it will based on the online images. And then we choose a slab and then get to work.
A lot of preparation in that, like, to avoid bubbles coming from out of the, is there a lot of preparation? I imagine there has to be, to avoid any kind of mess ups in it when you're pouring those big pours.
I mean, I still have mess ups, but I try to avoid them. But yeah, a lot of prep, making sure the wood is good and dry, which sometimes we choose a green slab. So it might sometimes takes another 6, 8, 12 months before it's even ready to work with. And they're warned of that when it's like, if you want this slab, it's longer. If you want this one, it's ready to go now. And then, just getting it, I do a light surfacing to begin with, and then, build the mold, seal it up. I mean, it's all the stuff that you've seen on not just mine, but a lot of people's YouTubes probably.
And is there, like, what's your turnaround like? I know there's got to be a lot of time, man hours put into that, from start to finish.
I don't take as many orders anymore because I found that people only order what they've seen you make already. And when it comes to creating content, people don't necessarily want to see you make the same thing over and over. Right. I was actually amazed people watched as many of the black epoxy and walnut videos as they did. But when I was doing it, I actually did just take a commission for the first time in a while. And I think I gave him like a 6-month timeline. But when I was doing it more of like steady orders, it was a minimum of 12 months. So, and that a lot of times is building a buffer in for them so they can choose slab and I'm not punished for it. Because if I say I can do it in 4 months and it takes them 6 months to choose a slab, that's not great math.
Yeah.
Have you ever had where, customers, you said, these are the 3 slabs I'm thinking of, and they went, I don't like any of those?
Yeah, probably.
Really?
I understand. Like, I'm not cheap. So, I mean, you can get, people much cheaper than me, and maybe they're in Missouri and they got kind of plain, ugly wood and they got 5 slabs in their shop and they're like, here you go, which one of these 5? And that's all they, can choose. But I feel like if they're willing to pay more, I'm willing to work harder and spend a little bit more time and get them what's right.
Yeah.
So you obviously had a regular job and quit that to go to YouTube. And now I know you have at least one employee. Is that taking that leap about the same thought process, or is it kind of the same nerves going in to take that leap to do that?
It was a hard decision doing that. I quit. My last day of work was in March of 2020. I don't know if you guys remember March of 2020 at all, but things got really exciting. And not a great time to leave a steady income job for a very uncertain future. And my wife, she runs her family's business, but it's a retail business. And then like the month after I quit my job, they had to close 40 stores, like not permanently, but temporarily. So we didn't know what the future of their company was, and they're doing great now. But I feel more bad for her than me, because I was in the wood shop just making stuff and making videos. She had, I always had a steady income anyway, just never mind how their business is going. It could always count on me. So now she had no steady income and then this uncertain future. But luckily, COVID was a great time for people online because everybody was watching videos. So my business just went like straight up.
Nice.
So when it come to, was it kind of when now you have an employee with like that taking a step to get an employee, is that kind of the same?
That was a big step for me too. For, I'm very comfortable alone and working alone, and was worried about him cramping my style, but also if I'm going to grow, I need to, outsource stuff. And it was the best thing I've done in my professional career. He's fantastic and takes so much off of my plate, and he's a professional at video editing, videography. So as, comfortable as you guys are in the wood shop, that's what he does on video. So I can give him an idea of like, I think it would be cool with this kind of like that. And then I walk away and he just turns it into a finished video. It's great.
It's like magic.
It honestly is magic. Cause like, if I had to sit down and edit it, I don't even know what image I would pull up. And he's like, well, I thought it'd be cool to do this and this and this and this. I'm like, okay, it's brilliant.
Different point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, it's just like anything, working with a professional. If have a guy like me go cut your tree down, it might crush your house. But if you hire a professional, like it's going to go right where it's supposed to go. And like, just I don't know why we're always surprised when professionals are really good at what they do, but he's a professional.
There you go.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat. AGK Woodworks would like to know, how have you managed to reset your mindset from helicopter pilot to full-time YouTuber?
I think the problem was when I was a pilot is I was already a full-time YouTuber in my head, and I stopped being as good of a pilot. So that was actually part of the decision.
That's probably not good.
No, it wasn't. And that's one of the things that was hard for me is something had to give. I had to stop doing as much while I was off, or I had to stop flying because it wasn't fair to the people I'm flying that you're not all in on, I have a crew and all that. And if I'm not doing my best to protect them and, be as safe as I can, it's not just me in the helicopter. So I was kind of checked out already to answer your question, which I don't think is the best place to be, but I at least recognized it.
All right, folks, we might make it there. We might not.
I got a really good idea kicking around my head. I'm just sorting out some ideas.
And you guys were saving lives too. You were saving lives too. If that's what you were, like a lifestar pilot, right?
Yeah.
So probably. It was like double trouble then.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's awesome.
At least you knew. You knew
I did.
when to call it so that you could maintain. I'm trying to decide which question I want to ask next. You did the round table that you did, your favorite with the really cool burl, but it was wet, cracked, and everything. You had to redo it.
What about it?
I think that's my favorite table. And when you were redoing it, you mentioned in the video that you let it sit for another, how long 12 or 14 months or something like that, so it could dry?
I think I gave it back to my wood supplier, and I think he had it for probably 18 months total. They started really slow, like a 90-degree room for like 6 months or something. And then they like slowly worked up, and it was a long process for them to get it all the way dry.
Okay. That was what I was going to ask, was how did you get it fully dry from there? Did it just naturally do it, or because I would imagine if you threw it in the kiln with the rest of the stuff, it would just instantly crack rather than just do the gradual.
He always says, I'm not an expert at wood drying, but he said really low and slow. It's just, it
doesn't crack. Yeah.
And this one still did crack, but that was not, I was not too surprised by that. But yeah, I think they have a room that's just basically a warm room. It might even be near their furnace or something. And then moved it up, and then it was a kiln cycle, and then they surface a little bit, and then they back in the kiln and they surface a little bit more. It's something about exposing that fresh grain is what was needed to get this one all the way dry.
Okay. Nice.
So the denim table, I have not seen any updates on this denim table that you did for the leather worker. And I looked on his page to see if there was any updates on it. Nothing was on there. How did the denim table work? Did he? I know you really liked it. I know you appreciated it, but have you seen any updates on it, or how he's using it, or?
I went by his house. I saw it in his house. I think he's just like a real person. Like, he's not a social media guy, so he's just using it like his office desk. I don't know if there's any exciting things. It wasn't on like HGTV or anything. It's just a guy using it.
Well, it was exciting for me.
He's just hiding it from you, Matt.
I'm telling you. I was curious. I'd never seen anybody do a denim table, first of all, and that was a just brilliant of coming up with that, how it looked and how you sanded it and how it came out.
I really like that project. That's I actually I just bought $2,000 worth of denim the other day for all these different colors, because I'm gonna do more stuff with it. I think there's something there.
I do, yeah. It looked. It turned out really nice.
Thank you.
I was very amazed because you started the project off the beginning and watched the video. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. This is gonna be horrible.
Did you know it would work, or you just took a shot?
So. I did a few like really smaller pieces. It didn't work how I thought initially on the finish, so I had to kind of work through that. But I knew it'd look like something. I guess I don't know. I knew I could infuse denim with epoxy, and I thought it would look cool. And I guess I wasn't quite sure how cool it would look or if it actually would, but I had a pretty good feeling.
So, I mean, and then you did the second table that I saw, which is the pneumatic table that you did, and then the sanding that came off from it made it look really cool.
I like the Damascus style one. I think that's what I want to do more, explore those kind of patterns.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was. Yeah, I don't even know where you came up with that idea, but it was that was awesome.
There's a guy, I give a shout out to Mosevic Eyewear. There's a guy who makes sunglasses out of denim. And
yeah,
he
I saw
like,
that link.
Yeah, he just infused it with epoxy and turns them into these cool sunglasses. And I'm like, it could be a sunglass. Why can't it be a table?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen people make pen blanks out of it also. And there's somebody out there that's actually using army fatigues to do blanks also. And that looks really cool.
I had a million people comment explaining that I didn't do anything unique. This is called Mercarda, which is like for like knife handles and stuff that they've been doing this forever. So I got the idea from the denim sunglass guy, but it's already a material that people use and correct me on anytime I have a video up about it.
You say, I know I didn't invent tables.
Yeah. Like really, I do get people that leave me those comments, and I'm like, that are the equivalent to like, I've already seen a table get built, and I'm like, yeah, okay,
good for you.
Go watch the grass grow.
It's pretty cool how you put the troll deals up top. That's pretty.
Yeah, gotta lean into it.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. I think it's great. We all get them. I have them commenting on mine all the time now. They like making fun of my.
If you're not getting trolls, you're not doing it right.
There you go.
There you go.
Gotta love them.
Nobody trolls a video with 200 views. Like, what's the fun in that? They troll the ones that I'd start getting mean comments, and I go like, and I'd have to go refresh my views, be like, I must have a video doing good, because it like starts to go up when you get those mean comments.
That's when you know that they say that's when you know you've made a good video, because that's when you hit that demographic, and then they start coming in there and they're just murdering you.
So people are preparing for me to have good videos.
There's nothing worse than scrolling through your comments and having just nice comments. There's nothing more depressing than that.
That's not exciting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I've had some pretty good ones lately. I'm like, yes, it's getting out there.
you gotta be proud.
Yeah.
Jamie, I'm gonna jump in front of you with a question from the chat.
Yeah, go for it.
North Idaho Tables would like to know suggestions on how to build what you want without a customer paying for it. He has lots of ideas, but doesn't want to lose much money fronting it all.
I suggest getting a really successful YouTube channel. I mean, really, that's where I make my money, is from YouTube, from all the different revenue streams from there, and I basically lose money on those. Like, I sell them for about half or sometimes less than I would commission them for, so it's not a total loss. But I also just plan on, and a lot of times I give the item away because I think it makes more interesting, or just easier for me to give it away than worry about holding it for 6 months to maybe sell it. And I know it's not a great answer, but that's the honest position where I'm at. I'm in a very fortunate spot to be able to build fun stuff that just makes a good video and not have to worry about selling it.
You'd have to have one heck of a good customer to say, do whatever you want, and I won't care ever, and I'm still going to pay you.
Even the ones that have said similar things to that, they still care, because you don't care. They're like, no, I trust the artist. And you go, you don't care, and they're like, yeah. And then you're like, okay, I was thinking of bow tie over here. Oh, I don't like bow ties. Okay, so you care a little bit.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they care.
Actually, I almost did that. I was going to put a bow tie in it, and my wife's like, did you ask the customer? And he's like, no, he said he wants me to do it. And she's like, you should ask the customer. I'm like, but he said he trusted me. And she's like, okay. And I asked him. He's like, oh, no. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Okay, my next one. So for me, one of my favorite tables you did was the Luthier slab, where you stained it all black and put the sunshine fade in it. Have you got your own personal favorite for whatever reason?
Of all my tables or pieces?
Of all your tables that you've done.
Of the tables I've done, I've always been fond of my personal dining table. It's no epoxy in that one. I did some. It's a book match slab, and I did extending slabs, or there's extensions on it that continue the grain. So it's like a 12-foot slab it's like a 9-foot on everyday use. And it's just a nice classic dining table. I think it looks nice, and the extensions were a challenge. That's probably my favorite table. I did a cabinet, actually. It's behind me. I don't have the lights on it right now, but that was another really challenging one that, again, wasn't for a customer. It's technically for sale, but I don't think anybody will pay for it because I priced it so much. I think because I like it so much. So I'm fine. I'm fine keeping it, but I really like that cabinet build too.
Nice.
So I'm going to go back a long ways. Well, 3 years ago, and I want to know what for one thing, you wanted to know how strong epoxy was. And I remember watching that video when y'all were attempting to break these tables. So tell us a little bit, tell the listeners about what went on here. I was like, what? He's going to do what?
Yeah, I would get people commenting all the time. So like if I would have maybe an epoxy corner, it'd be a 2-inch thick table, and I'd have like a corner of it that was epoxy. And someone's like, yeah, as soon as someone leans on that, it's going to snap off. And I'm like, I don't think they realize how strong this is. And then, you can't put too many plates on one side because it's going to break the epoxy. And I'm like, all right, let's just put this to bed. So yeah, I poured epoxy, just got some scrap slabs for free. And I poured 2 inches of epoxy. I think it was 2 inches. And I started off I stacked 2,000 or 2,200 pounds of concrete just right on the epoxy, like just put all the weight right in the middle. And I put a straight edge on it, and it didn't deflect at all. I took it to my wood supplier, and we put like a 2,500 pound log on it, and it didn't do anything. And eventually we dropped an 800 pound oak log that was sharpened to a point. It was like one of the Predator logs from the movie. I knew these guys would get the reference. And we dropped that on it, and it went right through the table. But what was interesting is it kind of just broke almost in random places, and it didn't break along the wood epoxy seam. It broke across the wood grain. It broke everywhere, including the epoxy, but the epoxy wood bond was irrelevant to that. And it basically showed that the wood was going to break before the epoxy. So it was a fun video to make, but also was kind of interesting to be like, oh yeah, like it was stronger even than I thought.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch that, because I know when y'all couldn't get it to break, and then y'all finally, it was a forklift, right? That I remember correctly. And
they got up their 20-foot forklift, and had another guy with another forklift in a basket, and he cut the rope and dropped a log through it. And it was impressive.
Like, don't let OSHA watch this, but
yeah. No, it was definitely pretty sketchy on the OSHA front.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to go back to the trolls for a minute, because I think like the thing I tell everybody, especially newer YouTubers and stuff, is you could have 10 good comments and 1 bad comment, and all you're going to see is that bad comment. So what you do, and I kind of want to know like how it started or what gave you the idea, is you put them on your stories and you kind of put them on blast. So how did that start, and how long you been doing that? And do you think it helps to leave? I would imagine there's super negative ones you just delete.
I don't delete much, unless it's like, I don't know, like hate speech or something, And what I learned is if you hide a user from channel, and I think this is true, if somebody knows if I'm wrong, tell me. But if you hide a user from channel, they don't know they've been hidden, and they're basically in their own little bubble commenting to nobody. Yeah. And so a lot of times I'll just do that because they're like, whatever. Then they're not going to create a new account and do whatever. So no, I don't delete a lot. If I can't come up with something clever to say, I'll just leave it there, and the comment can live on, and it doesn't bother me either way.
Yeah. But that is true though, because we've blocked people from the live show we do on Saturdays, and then it'll be weeks down the line they'll message me like, hey man, I keep putting comments in there, but you guys don't talk back to me.
Oh, there you go. So it's really pretty brilliant that YouTube thought of that. Like, we're just going to diffuse the problem, and the people can keep leaving their angry comments.
There you go.
Yeah. Or I've just won a giveaway, and by the way, my name is. We just blocked you a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So then I have to tell them, hey man, one of the moderators blocked you because you're a butt.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know I was. We're all too old to not know. You know.
Hey, we've had some that gone through like 4 accounts, just redoing accounts. They were just adamant that they were going to come in there, and we would finally sniff them out, and they would be gone, and then they finally gave up. But man, they were.
It's weird that people care that much.
I know,
They care
right?
a lot.
It's like,
They care a lot.
it's lovely
I
though.
got told for being hairy.
What?
Well,
What?
Have you seen
Yeah,
you?
I got told for having hairy arms.
Well, you kind of lean into it.
Yeah, you're asking for it, buddy.
I can give you
My
some
bad.
pointers.
I don't need any. I don't need any up there.
Oh
my
man,
goodness.
but that's great. Those guys, man, they do not give up. It's funny though. I had the latest one was I took out a wall. I'm redoing my office in here, and this guy, I don't know. It kind of depends on how they catch you during the day, right? I don't know if everybody's like this because I don't do this full time, but it just depends on how they catch me is how I'm going to respond. Or I'll take a screenshot and put it in our group message deal that we have, and I'll let these guys have at them, But it's I mean,
Be nice to my friend.
Yeah. We go hurt their feelings.
yeah, they've gotten so bad to where they make them delete their own message. But anyhow,
That's fun. Okay, question from the chat. Kimberly says, "Can you comment on your ceramic finish?"
Sure. Is there anything in particular you'd like to know, or if they're referring to about 16 months ago, I think we released N3 Nano, and it started from companies send me stuff all the time. They're like, "Oh, try this, try that," and I'd been using a different ceramic finish up to this point. Okay, that's not what I was going to talk about, but I'll now finish my thought.
Talk about it all. It's all good. It's all good.
So no, I'll keep it quick. But a company sent me something, and I was like, I'm already using one. But I had a slow day a couple months later, and I tried theirs, and I did some tests on it, and it was so much better than anything I'd used before. And I was like, I want you guys to make this for me, not me sell it for you. And they're like, yeah, that's what we do. And so that's how it started. So we launched about in December of a year ago December. And it's going really well. As far as the steps, that's kind of boring for a podcast, but it's fairly simple. You get it really clean. The kit comes with a prep spray just to make sure your oils, your hands, and all that aren't on there. Wipe it on. Don't let it sit too long. 60 seconds max. Buff it off completely. Wait 24 hours. Do that again, and then you can do a couple coats if you want. Build it up, and you can really, really build the sheen on something like that LED oil or the Rubio, those types of finishes. Works on any finish, but it works really, really well on hard wax oils.
Nice. Yeah, I used the ceramic finish, and I definitely let it sit too long, and I'm like, well, we're going to be sanding that
I
off
made a
again.
video on how to fix that, just because I knew that was going to happen. It's not a wood finish, and people get confused where they think, wipe it on, let it sit for 10 minutes. And if you do that, you're guaranteed to have streaks and all that.
Yeah.
But it's all fixable.
Yeah, it was nice. I think that was it for the chat.
yeah, I believe
I
so.
was going to ask about your bandsaw. You used it to make the base for that table, and you made the trapezoids.
Mhm.
And I thought, man, that is an awesome bandsaw. And then you showed the wave because of the blade. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Are you guys familiar with Alex Snodgrass?
Mhm.
Yes, I actually got to take a class with him.
Yeah. So I just, for the first time ever, I took his bandsaw class last week before. And I was like, oh, I've done everything wrong on setting my bandsaw up. So I ordered his blades, and he reached out after we met. He didn't know who I was, but it was that awkward moment when I'm just meeting the guy, and I'm not trying to be weird and say that I have a YouTube channel. I'm just meeting the guy, to order some blades, and people are like, do you know him? To like about me, and he's like, I don't. You know, I'm sorry. And I'm like, it's okay. Like trying to keep going. They're like, no, you should see his stuff. And I'm like,
He's like, I just want some blades, dude.
but anyway, I think because of that, he wants to do something together. So I might wait for him to come set my bandsaw up because he does stuff at Woodcraft by my house. So
Brilliant.
hopefully once he sets it up, I won't have those waves.
So, every time I go to set a new blade up or set my bandsaw up, I go and I YouTube his YouTube video on how to do it.
Yes,
and
it was
they run
impressive.
perfect
He
every time.
Really knows his stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the bandsaw whisperer.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't even own a table saw. He said.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
He don't have to.
Did he do the little reindeer cutout?
Yeah, I've seen big ones before, but I've never seen a little micro one like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, I stole it. I'm like, I'll take that home. He's all like, okay.
Movie stars, they get away with everything.
Souvenirs. Movie stars.
But did you use a coupon?
I didn't need a coupon.
Okay.
Jenny likes the coupons, man.
Hey. You know,
She has
gotta be
to. She
economical.
has to buy it if she has a coupon.
She's my wife would get along with great.
So let's go from bandsaws to talking about handsaws. That staircase that you did, I watched every minute of that thing. It was awesome. With the beam going all the way up, and but you guys doing Western saw versus Japanese pole saw. First of all,
people took that test so literally. I didn't know how serious people were going to take that short when I put that little short out.
What I took off of that thing is you guys had to have a workout. I mean, them arms had to be burning after that thing.
It was exhausting. Yeah, if you guys didn't see, we did. Johnny Builds, he'd come out to help me with this, and we were just cutting the ends off of it. And I was like, it'd be a funny part for the video. So I had a cheap, like, I don't even know what Stanley saw from Home Depot, and he had a Japanese saw. So I was like, let's race and see who's faster. And he won in the video, and people were like outraged because they weren't the same depth of cuts, and like one of them wasn't equal. And like, if I was going to do this, we need to do it 10 different ways, alternating sides. And I'm like, I was just messing around with my buddy, like just cutting a piece of wood. So
I'm watching y'all do this. I'm going, oh my gosh, they got to be tired after that. I mean, all those different treads that y'all had to cut out, for each rise and run. It was just like, wow.
This timber framing company, Shelter Institute, reached out after that, and they sent me some really nice saws. I have this crosscut saw. I want to build another staircase just so I can use this crosscut saw now, because it's what I needed so badly for this video.
Awesome.
Nice.
So any problem with the staircase?
Staircase is great. No, I mean, that was a video. I got a lot of feedback from people that think that I'm an idiot.
It's supposed to be. Think about it.
Yeah, think about it. There you go.
Yeah, think about it.
Exactly.
That think about it short. I cut that out and put that up just as like a 1-minute video on my other YouTube channel, and that think about it short got like 30-some million views. So like I think that resonated with people. The carpenter logic, I called it. Yeah. But it also upset a lot of people because of like they think that it's going to fall down, or like you can't stand on one side of the staircase. But I got all the way on one side and jumped as hard as I could. Like it doesn't move. It's fine.
Well, they care it's yours. You're just gonna hurt yourself.
Like I probably wouldn't be proud to have that in my house, but like it's a shop staircase.
All I got to say, to be a fair test, if me and Matt can jump on one side,
there you go.
Then we'd see.
Let's go. I'm ready.
There you go.
Sound confident.
There you go. So my next question is, how many projects do you usually have going on at one given time?
It's a good question. It's not a big shop. Usually one big project, and it's pretty tight. So maybe, one big one and a couple small ones, or one big one and a medium one. 3 medium ones at the most. Usually kind of one featured project, and it may or may not be big, and then 1 or 2 smaller ones kind of at the same time. The video I'm working on now, I was all set for my 4-week rotation of getting my next video up, and I'm getting some glass cut with a water jet, and I brought it into the water jet place, and he says, he goes, okay. He goes, I didn't know how big the glass was. We got a new machine that can do it, but we don't know how to use it yet. So it'll be like 3 weeks before you can have your glass back. And I'm like, oh
no.
So I'm trying to figure out
no.
how to get a video out before then.
Oh no.
For all the newbies out there, I want to know what your take is on Workbench Con. Is it, do you recommend, or what? Just let us know a little bit about it. What do you think about it?
It's, first of all, I've been a speaker the last 2 years. So with that disclaimer, the talks aren't that good.
The guys that speak are horrible.
No, I can be honest. No, nobody, I would say nobody. People that go again and again aren't going for the lessons. It's a networking thing. It's a place that gets everybody together in one place. You guys know Matt from 731?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He, I saw him on the last morning. I'd seen him, but I hadn't talked to him all week. And I was saying hi to him, and he's like, yeah, I didn't go to a single class this year. He's just like, just went for the networking. And that's all it is. So it's great for that. You got to put yourself out there if you're, shy or if you don't know anybody. But if you're willing to do that, everybody's so nice and it's a lot of fun. And, I don't know, like I try to, go out to lunch and dinner with random people and meet new people. I wish they would do a better job with the venue and like what you actually do there. It's just not, what they do isn't fun. And I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this yet, but it's okay because it's not my thing. I was talking to, you guys know Jonathan Katz-Moses?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the motivation. He's got his tool company and his stuff he does. I was like, you need to just do one of these, but do it better. And he's like, oh, we've actually been talking about that. And so I've been joking, like referring to it as Katzapalooza. But the idea is like, let's get somewhere where people actually want to go. Like nobody wants to go to the Atlanta Convention Center, like in February or March, whatever it is. And so he's working on things, and I hope that we can have, I just want a place to go. I don't have any investment in it. And I would love it if he could create something that's more interesting with all the same great networking and people that come to it.
Cool. That's interesting.
I think it's, we might have time for one more round, and I'm probably going to embarrass you because I'm going to talk about the woodworking events and stuff. We interviewed a lot of people that have been to them, and the common theme with every one of them says that Cam from Blacktail talks to everybody, and you're not too good or anything like that's the common thing with everybody. We've talked to everybody who would agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's a question or not, but
no,
appreciate
people have said that about me.
Yes,
oh, yeah.
every one of them.
Oh, that's good. I try to make it, and I don't think that it should be a thing. I don't think it should be like I just want to, like I already know the guys. I already know Brad from Fix This and Malecki and those guys. So like, why don't I go have lunch with somebody else?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean,
call,
that's been
that's noticed.
The most common thing
so.
is anybody, just even not on even this platform, just talking to people in private chats, your name always comes up that you're a heck of a guy. And it's truly, it's neat though.
I didn't know that, and I'm honored, and I don't know, makes me. I didn't know I was getting all choked up here.
I didn't mean to embarrass you.
Yeah,
when you said embarrass me, I'm like, I don't get embarrassed, and now I'm a little embarrassed. But thank you.
You got to have a little faith in me. You got to have faith in me, Cam.
You got me.
Because sometimes when you do this, it's when you've never talked to somebody, right? You don't know how it's going to go. But it almost felt comfortable because over the years, and I'm not just talking this year, I've heard people just praise how easygoing you are, how easy you're to talk to. You come up to people and
down to earth.
Yeah. It's always been said. And I'm just
so the flip side of that is there's some that aren't as good. Right.
Who's the bad one?
Can't say it. We're not that kind of show, buddy.
We don't talk bad about folks.
That's like, let me tell you how bad this one company I worked with was. No.
I do think like I am. It's awesome that people think that about me because I do make a conscious effort to like, because I know there are stigmas that go around some people, and a lot of times I don't think those are fair because like someone might just be, in an engaged talk with an old friend, and then somebody comes up to him at a bad time, and I try to think about what it's like, for them to interrupt people, and I don't get offense, and I'm happy to talk to anybody anytime. But I do think that some people might unfairly be judged if they catch someone at a wrong time, and they were disappointed with how they reacted to their conversation. So I'm glad I'm not one of them, but hopefully the other guys don't get judged too bad.
Well, let's just say you're extra good then. We'll see if they're bad. We'll say you're extra good. There you go. There you go.
Since our speed round and Jake opens with an icebreaker, which is usually silly, I'm going to close with a little bit of one. Did Scott ever find out why his vehicle burned down?
Fire?
Yeah. So there's I don't know what you'd call it in a movie, but there was like a bit of a cliffhanger yesterday. So Scott obviously parks at my house, and I got a new car and I had it out in the driveway, and I came out and we had these little red squirrels, and he was on my tire, and I was like, get out of there. And he ran over to the other tire and he's up there. And then I came out an hour later and he's on the tire again. And I'm like, are these little chewing through wires on this? Because that was one of the things they said could have been the cause of his car. And my other car, it's been parked outside for 4 years. I've been there. It's no issues. But could be the squirrel.
It's funny you bring that up because a buddy of mine, his truck started running real rough and they started tearing into it, trying to figure it out. His air cleaner was plumb full of acorns.
Giant acorns.
So
a giant acorn.
And he was getting codes. They did find chew marks where stuff was biting on wires. So
they're so destructive.
Yeah.
The coating of the wire is now coated with a soybean coating. People don't know
what does that mean. What is that? Is that good or bad for squirrels?
Is that diet wires?
Well, it's actually got a flavor to it.
Is it a bad flavor or a good flavor?
Good flavor for rats and squirrels, and yeah, it's horrible.
I was hoping you were going to say that it has some arsenic like coating in it.
No.
Squirrels.
These squirrels are out here doing dances and falling over. No.
Oh man, that's not.
So you're known for all your tables and everything, and I'm going to ask you about your mammoth tusk. What made you do a mammoth tusk? I mean, that it turned out amazing. Don't get me wrong, but what made you do a mammoth tusk?
I really wanted a mammoth tusk and couldn't just buy one because my wife wouldn't let me. So I had to take a chance. I was like, "Can I make a video on a mammoth tusk?" And I decided I was going to try. The video did well, but no, I just really wanted one for myself, and I thought it'd be more interesting to restore my own, even if I wasn't doing a video on it, versus just buying one and having it. So I had to make a video on it, and worked out all right.
I can honestly say I've never seen anybody else do a mammoth tusk. So
no, and that was a weird. I guess not weird, but weird to me that there aren't any other videos out there about it because I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so my last question is: so YouTube has always led us to believe that in order for us to grow, we need likes, comments, and subscribers. But you believe this to be only partially true. Is this correct?
Yes, I do believe that is correct. I don't think likes, I don't even really think comments do much for you anymore. Subscribers actually don't really do anything for you anymore. So what you really need is just views. And it can be a long conversation, but really what it is people try to game the system and I'm gonna say this, like at the end of my videos, I'm like, comment this, if you watch the video. And originally it was that trying to game the system. Now it's just kind of a tradition because I don't think it really does anything for me anymore. It's just making a good video. YouTube is so good at figuring out if people liked a video, if a video is actually good, if they watched the whole thing and were satisfied, not watch the whole thing and didn't like the ending. So it's just about making a really good, engaging video that people stick around for as long as you can. And then it doesn't matter really like, comment, or subscribe. subscribers are a fun vanity metric for us to brag to our friends and show a plaque, but they don't do anything else for us.
Well, you do it interesting too sometimes because you like say certain little things like, you know, you comment my name in the description and don't spell it KIM.
Yeah. And that was me trying to game the system early on. I do think I'm better than average at generating comments, but I don't think it does that much for me anymore. It does a little bit in the way of like, if you normally get 5,000 comments, or if I normally get 5,000 comments and I do something that makes me get 20,000, that probably helps my video. But if I go from 5,000 to 7,000 or 5,000 to 2,000, it doesn't affect the video, in my opinion, either way.
Of course, that question's kind of skewed because, or it might be skewed because of a huge channel and a channel that's smaller. It might not have the same effect on that. So you'd have to take the certain channel into account. I would imagine.
For sure. That was when we did a course on starting your YouTube channel, and part of that we have a private Discord for people in the course, because I try to say that exact thing. It's like, well, I can give you my advice on what you think, but it might not necessarily apply where you're at. Like, it might be more helpful for you to have a friend that's maybe at 1,000 subscribers and you're at 100, you know, and his advice might help you get over to that next little hump. And then eventually, you know, you'll be further along, but it's not all apples to apples for, you know, a big channel versus a tiny one.
Right.
It is still apples to apples when it comes to making good content. That's still the rule.
Yeah. There you go. If you could meet anybody, who would you like to meet?
In the world?
In the world.
Dead or alive?
I would say, I was actually thinking about this today because I saw a TikTok where they were reading some quotes, and there's not a lot of famous people I really would care to meet. I don't think just being famous doesn't do a lot, but I would really like to meet Mark Twain.
Ah,
okay.
He was just like, I don't know how much you guys know about him, but he was like the first stand-up comic. Like, he's just, the stuff he wrote and says was so freaking intellectual and funny and witty that I think I'd like to have a conversation with that guy.
Okay.
interesting. Cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey,
Sorry.
so
I feel like I sucked the wind out of it. You guys were expecting like some famous woodworker or something.
No.
You never know.
No,
You never know. I think we have time for one more question, and I'm going to bully my way into asking it.
Okay.
About Mark Twain.
You're welcome. So you make cool stuff, but that's not necessarily what people go to your channel for. And I've like, so we all do videos here. So I'm infatuated with the voiceovers and how well they're done and stuff. Can you just say, for us, like, you struggle with it too, or is it just a natural gift of gab, or can you talk about that a little bit?
We talked about this a little bit before, but I'll open the question up to the other guys since you already know the answer. So my last video was 37 minutes. I do, minute long, whatever, 30-second long segments, sometimes 2 minutes. How many takes do you guys think that I did altogether, all the takes combined, for that 37-minute video?
4 or 5?
Huh?
No,
4 or 5?
You did 2-minute segments?
It depends. Like, varies.
Matt's going to math it out. 2 minutes.
What's the minimum?
JP,
18.
you said
More
400.
18.
JP, did you say 405?
No, 4 or 5.
4 or 5 takes, okay.
I would say
Yeah.
40.
40.
40.
Yeah, about 40 or 50, yeah.
Jen.
He's got the lingo down. Yeah.
I'm going to go higher than the guys and say 125.
Whoa. I did 750 takes.
Wow.
Wow.
So I don't know. I make of that what you want, but it doesn't just roll off my tongue. I don't just go through. It takes me about 8 or 9 hours to do my voiceover, and then
Okay.
just the voiceover part.
Wow.
I was
So-
the furthest away.
You were.
Good job, Jamie. So how did you? When you told me that the other day, I was like, "How did you know how many? Like, is it just all
I've
stuck in your
never-
editor?"
I'd never counted before, but Scott was doing something with the video, and I can't remember why he tallied it up, but he's like, "You know how many takes you did?" I'm like, "Oh," he's like 750. And I'm like, "How would you count that?" And I actually don't know the answer, but he tallied them up.
So I know when I edit and I have some that I deleted, all goes to one spot on the editor. But I've never dared count them because I don't want to be depressed.
The worst takes I'll have I don't think I've ever had more than 50 for a one take. I've been into the 40s a lot, like trying to get one, and that's when I get into the 40s where depression's sinking in. I was like, I'm never going to get this
There's
one.
the answer to the question.
Just so you know, that made me feel so much better. Knowing that you not like I'm not happy you struggle with it, but I kind of like it a little bit.
part of the process.
I'm glad you struggle too.
Nobody's perfect. It's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Joey's daydreaming.
There he is. Wrap up.
Oh, I thought we were going to go another round.
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
We'll get the hang of this thing. We'll get the
He
hang of this thing.
he
Maybe
wanted to
after
bully
80
one
shows.
more question.
I was waiting on Jen to go because you said we are going to go another round, and I'm sitting here. Okay, well, I'm just going to wait my turn. But okay, then we'll end it. Cam, here's the time. If you got anything coming up you want to announce to our viewers, here's your chance to go ahead and do it, and let them know what's coming up in your world.
We are doing another round of the creator course that kind of social media, but centered around YouTube. We did an open cart in November, and then we closed it, and it's about to, or it actually is opened up right now, but we're going to go through the lives again. So if anybody's out there, I know my boy North Idaho Tables, you guys can ask him. He was in the course. So we're doing that again. Other than that, just keep making videos and trying to stay relatively interesting, and hopefully get my my voiceover takes down.
Where can they go to find that information on how to?
Sorry, the creatorcourse.com.
Creatorcourse.com. Cool.
There we go.
Nice.
Cool.
There you go.
All
Jenny,
right.
Jenny.
Okay, thank you, Cam, for joining us. Really enjoyed learning more about you and your processes. Coming up, I am working on items for a wedding fair next weekend, and craft season is starting, so production mode.
There you go. Matthew.
I have removed a major tool out of my shop, sold it this weekend, my Onefinity Journeyman, and have ordered the Onefinity Elite Foreman, which will be here in 7 to 9 weeks. And I have tore apart the shop completely on that side and rearranging everything and moving everything around because, that's what you do. So that's where I'm at.
Jamie Pie.
Just grinding away in the shop, putting out the weekly videos, and of course, cartoons on Saturday.
There we go. Uh-oh. Yeah, we got cartoons on Saturday. All the Make-A-Wish stuff is done. All the prizes are out, or the emails are in the email interweb thingy. It's all going out, so it's all taken care of. Back to business. I'm going to have a video. I'm working on a video on the questions about wood stabilizing, so stay tuned for that. Go ahead, Joey.
I am almost done with this office renovation, about another week and a half, and I should be complete so I can get it done before that challenge is over. So I'm probably going to go do a little bit more mudding here after this and try to get ahead of the game. Next week, we have Nicole and Bobby Duke on the show, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Please, if you remember, go listen to us on iTunes, leave a review. We would appreciate it, and we would want to get 10 stars, nothing less. 10 stars. But, anyhow, Cam, thank you for spending some time with us. We really, really appreciate it. Until next week, anything else? Oh, patreon.com/Creative Makers Podcast. Go take a look at it. We're on there. And that's going to be it. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. And we're out of here.